Hello and welcome to Media Rumble. I'm Chris, and this week is the week of E3, and it happens every year in Los Angeles. And as always, before it officially begins, big companies have press conferences, and Ubisoft had one, the PC Gaming had one, and Microsoft and Sony had one. In this video, I'm just going to talk about the big two in my mind, Microsoft and Sony, because they are the hardware developers, they are the ones that are making the exclusives, and the one that really is the centre of the console wars. It was a really good E3, I think, for new things and just for differences. We had Microsoft doing one thing and PlayStation doing something completely different. Just a disclaimer before we start. I only own a PS4 and I don't own an Xbox console, so there's probably going to be some bias in here. But what is a console without some bias? First off, I'll talk about Microsoft's, and they seem to focus a lot on their capability. Microsoft started off with their updated Xbox One, the Xbox One S, and this is said to be slimmer and sleeker, and it's 40% of the size of the Xbox One, and that's a huge difference, especially considering the original size of the Xbox One, and that was quite a big thing. And to see that they are making it smaller gives it more options for the users and allows them to put it in places that the Xbox One might not fit. And one other really important thing is the price. It was $299. I'm not sure exactly what it will be in pounds, but that's quite a good selling price, and it's almost making me think about buying one. So other things we get to see apart from the new hardware is Gears of War 4. We get a nice little demo of that, get to see some of the new things, get to see some of the new weapons and the enemies and some nice set pieces, and it looks like a genuinely interesting game. And as well as Gears of War 4, which we had seen previously, we also got to see Sea of Thieves, and this is a game that's coming out on Xbox and Windows, and it's what looks like a pirate multiplayer game. Looks quite interesting, but obviously I don't have an Xbox. But playing on the PC could be interesting, and I wasn't sure how I felt about their kind of gameplay introduction, where it was just these people screaming down the mic that just exaggerating everything, and obviously that's what Microsoft are looking for, people to look as if they're enjoying it, but I don't know, it didn't feel genuine. So as well as that, we got some new games. We got Forza Horizon 3, we got Dead Rising 4, which return back to the original character, which is quite exciting. So there was quite a few other things shown in the Microsoft conference, but the main takeaway I got from that was that it was about extending their reach. It was the new hardware. We got new games, we got updated games, we got games that could be played cross-platform, and that's quite a big step, and it's one that of all the companies Microsoft is the most capable of doing, and it's quite exciting to see where they can go from here, and I really look forward to seeing actually what comes of these cross-play games. So after Microsoft and after quite a arduous Ubisoft conference, we got the PlayStation conference, and this is the one I was looking forward to. I was excited to see what they were going to give me and what things we're going to get in the next year. And honestly, I was not disappointed one bit. They almost chose their genre of conference. You see Microsoft done their all around capabilities. Whereas PlayStation focused just on games, there was no nonsense, there was barely any developers out there, and after all, developers are there to make great games, not be great personalities. And it was a nice touch. And another nice touch was the live orchestra, and that really added to a lot of the things, especially in some of the gameplay we saw. So we start off obviously with God of War, the new game from Santa Monica, where Kratos isn't his usual self, he's Norse, and he's fighting trolls, and there's dragons, and he's got a son that's alive and shooting bows and arrows. And it was spectacular, I'm going to be honest. It looks like a mashup between The Last of Us, Skyrim, and God of War, and those are three games that I have absolutely loved in the past 5 years. And honestly, I cannot wait to see more of this game. So after that big announcement to start off, we got many game trailers. It was just trailer after trailer after trailer. There wasn't much nonsense in between. It was just Sony showing off what they've got. They've got Horizon Zero Dawn, they've got Detroit, they've just got quite a wide variety of things. And one of the things was Crash Bandicoot, and it's really exciting to see that they're remastering the first three games, and it's quite exciting to see like what's going to change about them. They said they're going to do them from the ground up again, and that's exciting. But one weird thing after that was they didn't announce a new game for Crash Bandicoot, they just announced they'd been Skylanders, and I suppose that's the market for Crash Bandicoot, but it's not really what gamers are wanting. They're wanting a new game to play as Crash and go on an adventure as Crash, not live in a world with other Skylanders. But to be fair, it does look pretty great, and I can't wait to see what's going to happen with him. So in amongst all the gameplay trailers, we got VR, there was Batman, there was Final Fantasy, and there was Resident Evil, and that game really was one that stuck out, I'm guessing, to most, where it really looked as if it was PT. We also got some new IPs. We got Days Gone, which is another zombie game in an apocalypse situation where you're a mercenary and you're a biker and you're also Sam Witwer. And it looks really exciting. There were so many enemies that he was running from in that gameplay at the end, and it was quite exhilarating and scary, and I've got no idea what the possibilities are for that game, but it did excite me. And as well as that, we got Hideo Kojima, where he came out just to say, I'm back and I've got a new game. And he showed us that new game, and that new game is Death Stranding's. And we weren't shown much of this. It was a really strange trailer. We had a beach, we had handprints, and most importantly we had a naked Norman Reedus who had a baby that then disappeared. And then there was whales, and then there was 5 things in the sky which disappeared, and then we got the name, and then it kind of ended, and what the hell is that? But it's a new Kojima game, so I guess we'll see. And one thing that really did excite me is the Spider-Man game. We're getting an exclusive Spider-Man game to the PlayStation, made by Insomniac, who are the makers of Ratchet and Clank and Sunset Overdrive, and this honestly could be Spider-Man's answer to the Arkham games. It doesn't look as dark, it looks exciting. There was so many different dynamic elements in this trailer, and there was lots of web swinging and just Spider-Man things, and that's honestly what I'm looking for. And I'm also looking for a game that's going to be better than Spider-Man 2, because that is definitely the pinnacle of Spider-Man games for me, and I really hope that they actually live up to that. So overall, the Sony conference was incredible. We had a no-nonsense approach. We got just trailer after trailer after announcement, and it just all flowed through with the orchestra from start to finish. And after 45 minutes, I didn't even realise we'd been going for that long, because there was no real breaks. There was no moments like in the Ubisoft conference where they were just kind of sitting talking for ages, or the Microsoft conference where there was an awkward Final Fantasy demo. And back to that Final Fantasy demo, it was a strange God of War feel to it, apart from the fact that the guy playing it just wasn't able to proceed. I was just getting battered by this Titan's fist again and again, and it really bored me. And this is something that the Sony conference definitely didn't. Even if it wasn't a game that I necessarily feel like I'm going to buy, like The Last Guardian, they did show that it's getting a release date after all these years, and they showed new things and exciting things. And even though they left Project Neo in the dark, it's something to look forward to as well. It's something that you know is kind of in the shadows waiting to be announced. And I feel that was almost handled better than the Microsoft one, because they were like, here's this nice new slim console, and then at the end they're like, and we're bringing out a new console. And then, like, as someone who could possibly buy an Xbox, surely you'd be thinking, well, what's the point in getting the slim if there's a new thing coming out? Like, where's the logic in that? And there must have been so many meetings about that to make sure they were actually going to approach it in the right way. And I think that they kind of did, but it's too confusing, and it could backfire. But in all, looking at those two conferences, it's, in my mind, easy to pick a winner, and it's definitely Sony, because they just showed us games and they didn't mess about with it. They didn't pander to us. They just kind of sat down and fired game after game at us, and that's really what I'm wanting for E3. It's not the interviews with the developers, it's not jokes, it's not awkward, weird segments, it's just games and hardware. And I think the hardware aspect is where Microsoft almost catches it, but just the sheer volume of games that Sony showed was incredible, and I honestly can't wait to see what's coming up in the future for both Microsoft and Sony, because it's quite a good time to be having a console, because you have Microsoft who need to catch up, so they're trying their absolute hardest, and PlayStation who are just trying to extend that lead further and just really batter on and show the people that they made a good investment 2 or 3 years ago when they bought a PlayStation 4. So thanks for watching the video, I hope you liked it, and if you want to watch my judgment on EA Play, and specifically the Star Wars element of that, you can click the link down here where you can watch my Star Wars Senate video, where I just simply discuss what was shown and my feelings on it. And if you'd like to watch a random video, you can just click down here and see what's there and just go wild. And most importantly, if you like this video, give it a like, and if you've not already, subscribe to the channel. And once again, thanks for watching. I've been Chris.